Howdy. Today, we're going to be taking a look at X-Transbots Commander Stack. This figure is a metallic repaint of the original X-Transbots Commander Stack. Since this figure is functionally the same as the original X-Transbots Commander Stack, I'm going to skip over the accessories and move straight to robot mode. If you would like to take a look at the accessories, feel free to refer to my previous Commander Stack review. All you have to know is this one doesn't come with the little minifigure. In his robot mode, this figure looks exceptional. All of the angled and beautifully curved panels now covered in metallic blue paint, metallic white paint. It just looks glorious. Now, the first release of this figure had some reflections off of it, but none of them looked this good. I mean, it's just insane the paint that they put on this figure. Now, of course, like any good X-Transbots release, it's consistently inconsistent. Some panels are different shades of this blue metallic, and not every single part is covered in the blue metallic. For example, on the knee joints, there's one click of this blue block piece built into the base of the leg, and that piece is just the bare blue plastic. It's not covered in any paint. But for the most part, the parts that aren't covered in the blue paint aren't the ones that are facing out most of the time. And the white paint, again, is just awesome. Really couldn't tell how metallic this was from the product shots that they released, and especially the white. It just looked exactly the same. But it is a nice metallic white, similar to what they use on Fans Toys figures. We'll get to that in vehicle mode just because I was really curious about the cab, and you'll see that in a bit here. In vehicle mode, he still looks really cool. Now, for better or for worse, I know how to do this transformation, and I was really curious about whether they used pearlescent white on the cab of the truck, and as it turns out, they have. Now, here's the thing. It's not as aggressive as the Fans Toys paint. You can tell here on Jive, he's this very rounded shape, and it's really easy to tell that they use this nice pearlescent white, and the surfaces kind of lend themselves to really reflecting light and showing off that paint, where the very boxy look of this cab doesn't really do a great job. But if you look at it under the right lighting, you can tell that it is this kind of pearlescent white, which really, really makes it look nice. They did make a couple changes as well. The bumper is red, the fuel canisters on the sides of the cab are red, and they added a little bit of white underneath where the rockets kind of slot in on the shoulders. They don't really slot in, it's where they sit. As far as the blue goes, the best comparison I can draw it to is Fans Toys Spoiler that has a similarly dark metallic blue. Now, I know this is a bit older, so it's not entirely representative of the modern blue that Fans Toys might use, but it is really close in color, and it's got a bit larger metallic flake to it than the X-Transbots, but the X-Transbots, again, the blue is really kind of what shines on this release of the figure. And you can see here it's a little bit inconsistent depending on what kind of material it's painted on, whether it's die cast or plastic, and even across some of the plastic parts, but I still think this looks better than the flat blue that they were using on the first release of this figure. And finally, the red is nothing special. I'm going to show you what Fans Toys does with a lot of their red. For example, here on Variator and also Parkour and Warthog, they usually just use this flat red. And kind of similarly, X-Transbots actually looks like they haven't changed the red of this. I think it's the same molded red plastic and paint over top of the blue plastic that they used on the previous release. Here are those red fuel cans I was talking about, as well as the red that they added to the front bumper. It used to be silver on the last release. I would show you this next to the original release, but I already sold mine because this one's just so much better. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at X-Transbots Commander Stack Metallic Edition. I got this figure from TFSource at tfsource.com. This figure was requested by Salamis Prime Reviews. As a reminder, if there are any other figures you'd like me to take a look at next, leave a comment down below. And as always, I'm Leo, reminding you that plastic toys don't belong in plastic prisons. See you next time.